I want to welcome you to our MMC platform. Thank you for subscribing, following, sharing. Today we are looking at the element of construct 3, and basically we are going to look at the GP or geometric progression application. The scenario goes: members of a football club had a meeting in January and agreed to give back to the community through a charity program. Starting from February, each member was tasked to make an initial saving of 1,000 shillings and ensure that for each subsequent month, every member saves twice the amount he saved in the previous month up to November. In the meeting, there was a well-wisher who promised to give them a contribution of half of each member's total saving if they raised their initial saving to 5,000 per member, and instead used the mathematical relationship AN is equal to 5,000 times 3 power n to generate each member's total savings, so that the charity program would take place in the month following their last month of saving. However, members do not know the month they can have their charity program if they are to use the well-wisher's mathematical relationship to save. During the meeting, the executive committee, which consists of 8 members, 5 of which are female. So now let's look at the hint. In the relationship, AN is equal to 5,000 times 3 power n. A represents each member's total savings following the well-wisher's suggestion, and it is half of the total saving each member would have made using the math they had agreed upon. The method. N is the number of months they would take to save the amount. Task: determine 1. the month when the charity program will take place. 2. the number of ways of selecting the organizing committee. Our dear viewers, that is our task of this scenario. So we are summarizing, and we are first looking at part 1. Part 1 says, Roman 1 says, so members of a football club had a meeting in January and agreed to give back to the community through a charity program starting from February. So starting from February, each member was tasked to make an initial saving of 1,000 shillings and ensure that for each subsequent month, every member saves twice. In other words, initial saving is 1,000. Then the saving is twice. In other words, the common ratio R is 2. He saved the previous month up to November. So this will be from Feb up to November. Then in the meeting, there was a well-wisher who promised to give them a contribution of half of each member's total saving if they raised the initial saving to 5,000 per number. Instead, use the mathematical relationship AN is equal to 5,000 times 3 power n to generate each member's total saving, so that the charity program would take place in the month following their last month saving. Okay, so that is the formula the well-wisher gave them to be used in the saving. So now from here we know that the initial saving, that is the first element, A, is 1,000. Then the common ratio R is 2. Then the number of months N is 10 months. That is from February to November. Okay, so now the first step is we want to get the sum of a GP, and the formula is given by A is equal to R power n minus 1 all over R minus 1. Okay, so we can substitute S of 10 months will equal to A, which is 1,000, into R, which is 2, power n, which is 10, minus 1, all over R, which is 2, minus 1. This gives us 1,000 into, what does that give us? It gives us 1,000, that is 1024 minus 1. This gives us 1,023,000. So this is the saving they would have in the 10 months. Okay, so from there the well-wishers formula is AN, which is equal to 5,000 times 3 power n. However, but AN is a half of SN. The well-wishers formula dictates that he contributes a half of the money and they contribute a half using that formula. So now we shall substitute and say a half of SN or of S10 is equal to 5,000 times 3 power n. Okay, so from there we shall say this means a half of S10 will be a half of our 1,023,000 is equal to 5,000 times 3 power n. So what is a half of that? That is 511 500, giving us 5,000 times 3 power n. So at this level we can divide both sides by 5,000 such that we shall get, if you divide this side by 5,000, we shall get 102.3 is equal to 3 power n. At this step, we introduce logarithm on both sides is equal to, so this side should have n log 3 is equal to log 102.3 divided by sides by log 3, both sides by log 3. So n alone will equal to, what have we come up with? 4.212. Okay, so from here we can conclude and say, since n is equal to 4.212, they need to save they need to save 5 months, because the 4th month is already past something, so we round off to 5 months. If they are to follow the well-wisher's suggestion, okay, so we can say, therefore, they will have their charity in July, since they would have started saving in February. February. Thank you so much. Let us look at Roman 2 of our scenario. And it says, during the meeting, the executive committee, which consists of 8 members, 5 of which are female, was tasked to formulate an organizing committee for the charity program. From among themselves, the organizing committee should consist of 6 members with at least 2 males. The executive committee needs help to establish the month when the charity program will take place, the well-wisher's suggestion, and also determine the number of ways of selecting the organizing committee. So, Roman 2 says, determine the number of ways of selecting the organizing committee. Okay, so this is under permutation and combination, and from here we can summarize and say the number of committee must consist of at least 2 men. So the number of committee must consist of at least we shall have we have 5 women, 5 women, and three men. But they have given us a condition that the number of men must at least, the committee must have at least 2 men. So this means at least 2 men, 3 men, then at most 2 men. This means the men can be either 0, 1, or 2. Okay? So now, the number of committee, therefore, will equal to 5 combination 5 times 3 combination 1 plus 5 combination 4 times 3 combination 2. Okay? So the order, the number maintains as 8, 8, 8. So which means 5 combination 5 will give us a 1. Then 3 combination 1 will give us a 3. Plus 5 combination 4 will give us a 5. Times 3 combination 2 will give us a 3. This gives us 1 times 3, a 3 plus 15, giving us a 18. So, therefore, we can conclude and say there are 18 ways of selecting the organizing committee. Okay? Make sure you refer to the task always when you are responding. Thank you so much for following, subscribing, turning on the bell. Please follow us and God will bless you. Shalom.